Just baby, how you doing? Okay.
All right.
A little bingo now. Okay. Hey guys, it's Belinda from Simple Goodness Sisters, the bartender,
And Venice, the farmer.
and we're gonna make another garden to glass cocktail using our simple syrups. Today we're gonna use our flagship flavor, still tried and true, beautiful, awesome, delicious simple syrup, rhubarb vanilla bean.
I'm excited about it. Rhubarb is growing in the garden like crazy right now.
And it's the first thing that's available hothouse, meaning coming from a greenhouse in our area. So we get a lot of rhubarb this early, and so it's nice because if you want to go to the grocery store, you can actually pick up a few stalks and use them as garnishes.
Yeah, Pierce County, where we farm, is one of the top producers in the country of hothouse rhubarb. Fun fact.
Fun fact, rhubarb pie pack, capital of the world. And we actually have on our Pinterest, I think, a really cute little rhubarb garnish idea where it's like a dipped rhubarb stalk that you sugar, and it's really cute. So maybe check that out too.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna dive into the recipe. This recipe is a sidecar variation. So sidecars are a classic, super old school cocktail that can be made with cognac, brandy, bourbon, and today we're actually gonna make it with whiskey. And the reason I feel like we can get away with whiskey instead of bourbon is that we're adding all these other like caramely, warm, toasty flavors with the rhubarb and the vanilla bean in here. And then using Grand Marnier instead of Quattro, which is kind of the traditional triple sec that you would use. So we're just gonna make it. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do a full ounce, that's this side, of the rhubarb vanilla bean syrup. And add that to a cocktail shaker. Next, we are going to add the lemon juice. So, Venice, do you know why I start with syrup and lemon juice instead of my spirit when I'm making drinks?
I do. Because I've heard you say it before.
So, bartenders always start with the least expensive ingredients in making a cocktail. That way, if you mess up, you haven't had to toss out your spirit, which tends to be the more expensive.
Yeah.
So 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lemon juice next, and then I'm going to add the bourbon, 1.5 ounces of this. Sorry, not bourbon, it's whiskey. It's from Spokane, it's dry fly, it's delicious. It's got a lot of good nuanced flavor in it.
What's the difference between a whiskey and a bourbon?
That's a great question. There's a lot of rules about bourbon, kind of like there's a lot of rules about tequila. So
Okay.
bourbon is regional in the US. It's also, so like Canadian whiskey is called that even if it was aged in barrels, they can't call it bourbon because bourbon comes from bourbon country.
Okay, got
Tennessee, Kentucky.
Got it.
And then also there's the aging process of bourbon, and then there's also ingredients. So it has to be like I think it's 51% corn base, and then the rest. So there's like a corn, wheat, the actual distilling process is specific. And then the Grand Marnier is next. This is a liqueur. It's made with cognac, which is kind of like that nod to the sidecar, is originally made with cognac, and then it's got a lot of orange flavors in it, and so that is gonna really do the same job that the triple sec did of making it like sweet and citrusy and just really refreshing. I call the sidecar like bourbon for beginners because it's a really great approachable brown spirit drink. Even Venice likes it. Tell them your story about why you don't like whiskey, Venice.
I'm not new. So it can also be a good drink for not new bourbon fans, but I went to school in Montana and I maybe drank a little too much whiskey in Montana, and that was like obviously the drink of choice, as you might imagine, and in college. And so
We all have that college beverage, I think.
Yeah, I had to take a little break, and now I'm learning how to drink whiskey in a whole new way.
Yeah, and more appreciative, not throwing it in Diet Coke kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. And so now I'm starting to be able to drink it again, but it took me a minute.
Okay, so this is a shaken cocktail. You shake versus stir based on how much dilution you want, how much water you're adding to the cocktail, as well as texture. So anytime you shake it, it's gonna be a little bit frothier. When you stir it, it's a little silkier.
I also noticed that like the smells come out a lot more.
And shaken?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like aerating the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
The shaking is aerating the drink.
Like,
It's
I don't
adding
smell it
oxygen
right
to
now.
It's making it frothy.
But once you shake, pour it. Plus it's fun. I cannot like watch you do this and not say, shake it like a Polaroid picture every
It's a
time.
really cute trait of yours. I really love it. Okay, so we separate our shakers, and then we're going to do a double strain. This is one of the reasons that I wanted to show you this drink. First, though, we're going to prepare our glass. So you may have noticed, if you do not have a sugar rimmer, you can absolutely
do
drink
this
it like this. Sure.
My favorite.
But if you have sugar rimmers, especially our edible flower sugar rimmers, which we make from flowers grown on the farm, dehydrated, harvested, painstakingly made, ground, and then combined with cane sugar, they are a really nice touch, and it helps make this drink even more approachable. So she lined it with a little bit of citrus, fresh citrus, and then you just kind of like gently dip and roll. And always do this in a small container so that you're only putting a little bit of the sugar in, because if you get it all wet, it tends to crystallize, and then it kind of ruins the rest of your sugar.
Especially if it's one of ours, because we don't add an anti-clumping agent because it is a chemical and it's kind of gross. So
yeah, so be careful. Okay, so now that we have our beautiful glass, I'm going to show you how to do a double strain. So this strainer is different than this one, right? This one's called a Hawthorne, this one's called a fine mesh, or like you kind of have these in cooking too, so you might even just have one of these like in your pantry for your kitchen rather than a bartending tool, and it'll totally work just fine. I have also, in a pinch, used a bulk tea strainer.
oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So if you don't have this exact equipment, you can make do. You can also just use the strainer that is often like built in to your shaker, like that one. That's fine. But the reason that we're doing this nice fine strain is that it's really going to help grab all of the little pieces of fiber that get through the lemon juice.
Got it.
And you're going for like that really smooth texture. So you kind of like hold this strainer in the cup like this with your thumb, put that in one hand, put this one in the other hand, and then if you're being fancy and you're trying to make a YouTube about bartending, you go way up here for your pour so you look really cool. Not required, but you know, feels fun.
Oh.
Don't do that though. Don't do that at all. That's not fancy for YouTube. There you have it. Beautiful, delicious, double strained whiskey sidecar with rhubarb, vanilla bean, and a floral sugar rim. And this is one of those drinks that I think anyone can enjoy, even if you don't traditionally like brown spirits. And it's really good as a happy hour drink or an after dinner drink too, because it's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
So I guess let's go for it.
Or just 10 a.m. on a Friday.
Which is what time it is right now. Oh my gosh, it's so good. This is gonna be a good Friday, guys. Cheers. Definitely make one of these at home. Let us know what you think. And again, it's really nice because whether you have
That's good.
urban foraged apple brandy or whiskey or bourbon or cognac, you can use any of those things to make this sidecar, and it'll just be a fun variation. Don't be afraid to play around.
Well, now there's 3.
Oh man, it's gonna be a really fun Friday. All right, cheers. Thanks for drinking with us. See us at Simple Goodness Sisters on Instagram and at www.simplegoodnesssisters.com.
And if you make the drink, make sure you take a picture of it, because if it's not on Instagram, it didn't happen, and tag us.
Yeah. That was a great video. Good